Ladies, gentlemen, and ballers, Private KJ, Shot Callers Podcast, back here with another video. Today we're going to be talking about my personal opinion on the Defensive Player of the Year candidate so far, okay? So if you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Turn on post noties so you never miss a beat, alright? Bradley Beal's still a part of the team. Shout out to him. I'm pre-recording this video just like the other videos that I've done on the channel where I'm not recapping some of the NBA games because I'll be in Florida. Okay, so there will not be a podcast or live stream for this Sunday and next Sunday. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Today we're going to be talking about obviously the Defensive Player of the Year, and we got up is Giannis, Joelle Embiid, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Davis, and Miles Turner, okay? Let's first talk about Giannis, okay? So on the year, he's averaging 27, 11, and 5. Another dominant year by Giannis. Nothing new here. He's just been basically plain old Giannis. He is not my personal defensive player of the year, and even though I'm kind of spoiling it somewhat already, I will let you guys know who I pick, just like the other videos at the end of the video. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But Giannis, we already know, has just been a demon on defense regardless. Now, the stats statistically may not always back that up, but at the end of the day, like you just need to sit down and watch the Bucks. That team moves through Giannis offensively and defensively. Now they do have Middleton, Drew Holiday, and DiVincenzo, who are all quality to good defenders on the perimeter, so that does help. And Brook Lopez does hold down the paint, but I think what gets glossed over is the fact that Budenholzer's defensive system can get exploited by good teams, and without Giannis, they're probably not as good of a defense as they should be. Now, I don't think this video will be relevant or this kind of take on Giannis will be relevant come playoff time, because we all know how Budenholzer gets exploited in the playoffs. So, but this is a regular season award, and that's all we're here to talk about. With that said, though, let's move on. We got Rudy Gobert averaging 13 and 13. The man is a menace in the paint, okay? He, even though in the playoffs, he hasn't exactly been amazing in his impact within the game against certain teams like the Rockets these past few years. He is averaging almost 3 blocks a game, by the way, 2.7 to be exact. The Jazz right now are the best team in the league, which is why Rudy has a really good chance of winning it so far. It's not just that. Like, he literally anchors that defense. Like, when Gobert's off the floor, they are a mediocre to poor defense. When he's on the floor, they are basically a top 5 defense, in my opinion. And it really shows how impactful he is on that side of the floor. And I like what Quinn Snyder has done this year specifically, how they kind of allow, not that they haven't done it before, but more often so this year, they let their kind of guards corral, they let Gobert get their defensive blocks. And let me explain. Like, there will be plenty of possessions where you wouldn't typically see teams giving up the middle. They'll allow them to give up the middle as long as they are communicating properly. They corral him to Rudy Gobert, and that's where he eats up the most, if that makes sense. And with that said, what I'm nervous to see is if Rudy Gobert can space out on the perimeter and guard out on the perimeter, because he really hasn't proven it all that much. But like I said, this is a regular season award, and we are basing off of what has gone so far this season. Next up, though, we have Anthony Davis. He's been just a demon when he has played, averaging 22, 8, and 3. Anthony Davis, it's not like he anchors the defense, but he is the best defensive player on that team. Now, obviously, all these players that we're talking about here are the best defensive players on their teams. Like, that's just a given. They wouldn't be in the running if they weren't. But Anthony Davis, let me just give you some stats. He's averaging 2 blocks and 1.5 steals. The thing that I believe will hold Anthony Davis back in the end is the amount of games played. He's taken off a decent amount, not a lot or anything, but compared to what I project by the end of the season, compared to someone like Turner, Gobert. Actually, Turner's already missed a game, so I can't even say him. I guess with like players like Giannis and Gobert, I see Anthony Davis sitting out and resting a decent amount of games still. I'm not sure what the number is. I'm not Anthony Davis's trainer or anything like that. But what I am here to say is that I believe, and it goes the same case with Joelle Embiid, that I think that when it's a close race between the players like these, I believe that I strongly believe that games played will be the deciding factor. So yeah, that was just kind of a quick one on Anthony Davis. Next up, we have Miles Turner. Um, at the beginning of the season, this man was averaging basically 4.5 blocks a game. He's now down to 3.6, but that is still ridiculously good. He's still almost averaging 4 blocks a game with 1.2 steals involved in there. Miles Turner, I believe, isn't given enough credit for because his presence was missed when he was out. I forget what the injury was, but it was so obvious how bad defensively they were compared to when he was out. Because, like, I'm watching Sabonis play the 5, and Sabonis is a talented player. He's a great player. He's going to be all-star for many more years. But we all know how bad defensively Sabonis is. He's just not very good. And the thing that I really see the most is how well he's able to space out on the perimeter, because he's a better perimeter defender than given credit for. I'm not saying he's like an elite defender on the perimeter by any stretch of the imagination, but for a big man that's like 7 foot, he has faster feet than given credit for. And that's pretty impressive, and I think that can be very valuable come playoff time. And he's just a valuable player. He's a floor spacer, a stretch 5 that can guard basically like 3 through 5. Maybe some threes, not all threes. Let me relax on that one. But with that said, I do believe that Turner also benefits from Sabonis because, and let me explain. When Sabonis is this poor of a defender, at times it's like Turner has to decide on the 2-on-1, and I think that's what makes it all the more impressive. So that's kind of my take. I know that really wasn't in depth on what I was trying to explain, but I'll kind of explain towards the end of the video. Lastly, though, we have Joelle Embiid. He's averaging 29, 11, and 3. MVP candidate. Second, in my opinion, so far. He was first a few days ago, or not, maybe like a week ago. But defensively, he's the same Joelle Embiid that we've always known. He's averaging 1.3 blocks, 1.4 steals. This is a career high in steals, by the way, might I add. And this same thing kind of applies with Anthony Davis. I don't believe that when it comes to a really close race that I think he'll lose it because of the amount of games he ends up playing. Another big thing is he benefits from having Ben Simmons on the floor. Now, obviously, you can't control if you have another great all defensive team type player. You can't control that. But when it comes to me trying to compare between multiple different players when it's really close, in my opinion right now, I think all 5 of them you could really make a case for it, to be quite honest. That's sort of my little opinion. I think he really does benefit from Ben Simmons. Now it shows when he's off the court there, 1-4 with him. But Ben Simmons has missed a few games, and I think, and you can see defensively their defensive rating has dropped a little bit. And that's a significant thing. Now, Joel Embiid's health and conditioning has been much more improved this year, so I really like to see that. So I'm curious to see how many more games he's going to sit out. But with that said, right now, he's been an all-time defender. He still plays like he usually does, and I'm glad that Doc Rivers has changed their game plan to better benefit Joel Embiid's talents. And so with that said, I'm going to kind of narrow this down because I actually think this race is a lot closer than people might think. So I'm going to kind of narrow this down to top 3, and then I'll give you my kind of thoughts. So right now, my top 3 are Miles Turner, Rudy Gobert, and Joel Embiid. Those are my top 3 right now, okay? I'm taking them over Anthony Davis, and I'm taking them over Giannis. Now, Giannis, this may be a little bit of voter kind of me getting tired of voting for Giannis. But I do believe that this race is so close that I understand. Now, in a span of like 2 weeks, this all could change. Someone gets hurt, or maybe the Jazz go on like a losing streak. Okay, that's how close I think this race is. But with that said, I'm going to rank them from 3rd, 2nd, and 1st on my opinion so far. So 3rd right now I think is Joel Embiid. 2nd, this is close, but I'm going to have to give it to Rudy Gobert, and 1st is Miles Turner. That might be a little controversial, and I think a lot of people actually think Embiid is leading number 1. So my thought process is, I think that Miles Turner is just so underrated, and the fact that he's playing Indiana is really going to hurt him in this kind of voting process, because at the end of the day, the voting system really is fan-based, and it's really kind of sometimes a popularity contest. This is not what this is. This is my personal opinion and what I've been watching. I think the fact that Miles Turner has to play alongside Sabonis really, like, it makes it all the more impressive. Like, the man is averaging 3.5 blocks to go with basically almost 4 to go with 1.2 steals. Like, statistically he's putting up the best defensive stats, and I think it really showed when he was injured how poorly defensively they truly are without him. And not to say that Gobert doesn't have the same effect, or Embiid doesn't have the same effect, or all these guys don't have the same effect. But I think Embiid's system and the way how he can kind of defend with Ben Simmons, and not that Tobias Harris is a bad defender, he's not a great defender, but he's just a body. I think that has really benefited him, and I know I really shouldn't hold that accountable to him, and it's not his fault. But at the end of the day, if it's a really tight race, I have to factor in something, and I think that's what I'm deciding to do. Maybe I'm wrong for that. Leave down in the comment section what you guys think. And the reason why I chose him over Gobert, and it's really tough because I know the Jazz are the #1 team, and honestly, I don't even know if I truly believe this now. I'm really thinking about it, but I'm sticking with Miles Turner right now. Gobert, it's just like he is. I understand that he basically is that defensive system, but at the end of the day, I think that the Jazz are much more talented than the Pacers. Now, I'm not saying Malcolm Brogdon's not a great defender. I'm just thinking kind of point guard to center. I just truly believe that Miles Turner's impact on the game is just so good. Adding to the fact that he has the best stats. Like, if you actually look into the stats, he's leading this league in blocks. And on top of that, he's averaging 1.2 steals, which is like 0.3 off from Embiid. But with that said, I know I kind of repeated myself just a little bit there. That's going to conclude this Defensive Player of the Year video. Like I said, for all these videos, this is kind of a quick little thing. Once it starts to narrow down towards the end of the video, I'm going to go more in depth instead of just kind of giving my little short opinion. So yes, with that said, that concludes the video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. Proud of KJ out.